Hello everyone, my name is Margaret and I've been asked to talk about knitting, which isn't very hard for me to do because I've been knitting for about 87 years. That's a long time. And I can honestly say that I've had something on the needles since that time when I learnt at 4 years of age. And I can honestly say that I've had something on the needles since that time when I learnt at 4 years of age. Knitting actually is a very easy skill. You really only need to know 4 things: how to put the stitches on to your needle, how to knit, how to purl, and how to take the stitches off the needle. Those 4 things you have to learn when you start to knit lead you then into the whole world of knitting, and you are able to knit everything in here. This is a whole book of knitting stitches and patterns, and you can do that by just learning those 4 things. And the nice thing about knitting is it's so portable. You know, you can take it with you. You take it with you when you know it's going to be a boring meeting, or whether you've got a soccer game to watch with the children. And it's very, very portable, which is absolutely great. And in my generation, the yarn that you used for knitting, either wool from the sheep, cotton from the fields, or silk from the silkworms. They were the original knitting items, and they were beautiful because people didn't have heating as they do now in their homes. So whenever my mother said, if I complained I was cold, she'd say, go and put another sweater on. And the sweaters that you put on are warm. Now, this sweater, beautifully soft. This yarn comes from New Zealand. It's a long way away to bring a ball of yarn, isn't it? This New Zealand yarn comes from New Zealand sheep, which are grown in and graze in New Zealand. And they produce this beautiful soft yarn. This yarn comes from Italy. Wool. It's pure wool, and it's quite a different feel because the sheep feed on different items in the grass and produce this beautiful yarn, which is very warm. Now, this yarn is again very soft, very light, and very warm, called mohair. Comes from an Angora goat, and they usually only are found in Turkey and actually in Texas. So years ago, these were all the different yarns. Now, this one is a very heavy sweater, and that is used for people who go skiing when they don't want the cumbersome sweater on, but this is warm. Now, again, you know, if you feel it, it's quite different. It's soft, but it's very, very warm. And that comes from Iceland. So the Icelandic sheep feed on the Icelandic grass, and this is the yarn that they produce. So it's a fascinating hobby to learn all about this. Now, of course, recently times have changed. Not long ago, the man-made fibres, acrylics and nylons were brought in, which we didn't know about then because they weren't there for us. Now, the advantage of acrylics is that you can throw it into the washing machine if you want to. You must not ever throw these into the washing machine because I'll tell you what, it would be half the size when it came out if you did. So attraction, pure yarns, has faded because you have to hand wash them. And people nowadays they want to be able to throw it in the washing machine. So there are advantages, but there are disadvantages. I think the time has come now where in places like Turkey, which have a lot of good yarn to send and export, and we get a lot of yarn from Turkey, they're starting to combine the natural fibres with the man-made fibres, and that gives you a lot more flexibility in what you're knitting. I think that's it. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.